A Michigan township just walked into the voting booth and crushed a data center. Nearly 90% said no. From a statewide freeze in Texas to power bills climbing across a 13-state grid, the fight over America's AI build-out has turned into a full-blown revolt. Here's what's driving the backlash, and the record-shattering money still pouring in anyway. We start in Augusta Township, Michigan, where residents didn't wait for their officials to act. They took the fight straight to the ballot box. Voters overturned the industrial rezoning of more than 500 acres of farmland near Milan. Land that New York-based Thor Equities had eyed for a sprawling data center. The margin was staggering. 2,314 residents voted no. Just 269 voted yes. Nearly 90% against neighbors gathered petition signatures to force the referendum after. The township board approved the rezoning, then turned out in force to reverse it. It's one of the clearest signs yet that ordinary Americans are willing to spend their own weekends and their own ballots to stop these projects. That grassroots resistance is now being matched by dramatic action at the state level. And nowhere is state action more dramatic than in Texas. On August 3rd, Governor Greg Abbott ordered a stunning pause. No new data center can connect to the state's main power grid until regulators audit every project. Already in the queue, the scale is almost hard to believe. ERCOT is fielding roughly 474 gigawatts of interconnection requests, more than 5 times the state's all-time record demand. And data centers account for about 90% of it. Abbott is demanding that developers disclose their water use, their tax breaks, their cooling technology, and exactly who owns them. Any project that refuses gets denied a grid connection. ERCOT has already suspended pending approvals and will seek an exception at its August 20th meeting. And the reason states keep slamming on the brakes comes down to one thing landing in every mailbox: your electricity bill. Across the 13-state PJM region, the nation's largest grid, data center demand has sent capacity prices through the roof. In the latest auction, the price utilities pay to guarantee power leapt from under $29 per megawatt day 2 years ago to more than $329 today. A roughly tenfold increase. Analysts pin 63% of that jump directly on data centers, translating into some $9 billion in extra costs that will be recovered from ordinary households. The Natural Resources Defense Council projects the typical family in PJM territory could see bills climb around $70 a month by 2028. Consumer advocates keep asking the same question. Why should families subsidize infrastructure built to serve a handful of trillion-dollar tech companies? To meet that demand, developers are chasing radical new ways to make power. Consider what's rising in the New Mexico desert. A company called New Era Energy and Digital, until recently a helium producer, has locked up an option on roughly 3,500 acres in Lee County to build an AI data center campus of up to 7 gigawatts. What makes it remarkable isn't just the size. It's the power plan. Rather than lean on a strained grid, New Era intends to generate its own electricity on site, pairing more than 2 gigawatts of natural gas with a planned 5 gigawatt plus nuclear installation. The company picked Lee County for its gas pipelines, existing infrastructure, water, and skilled labor, with first power targeted for 2028. It's a bet that the only way to feed the AI boom is to build entirely new energy from scratch. But new power collides with an old and unforgiving limit: water. Because these facilities don't just drink electricity, they drink water, and they're increasingly being built where there's the least of it. A new analysis finds that 2/3 of the 809 data centers planned across the United States are slated for land gripped by drought over the past year. including water-stressed corners of Virginia and Georgia. In the Phoenix area alone, nearly 60 facilities are projected to demand around 177 million gallons of water every single day. Meanwhile, the federal government has finalized cuts requiring California, Arizona, and Nevada to slash their Colorado River use by 16 to 20% through 2028. A plan critics note never even mentions the surging thirst of data centers. For communities already rationing, the arithmetic is starting to feel impossible. State lawmakers are taking notice. In Oklahoma, they've decided to put the rules in writing. This week, Governor Kevin Stitt signed the Data Center Customer Ratepayer Protection Act, a new law designed to keep the cost of powering these giants off of residents' bills. It defines a large load customer as any new facility adding 75 megawatts or more of demand, and it requires those customers to cover the cost of the energy infrastructure they need, rather than socializing it across households, small businesses, and traditional industry. Stitt paired it with a Groundwater Modernization Act aimed at protecting the state's water supply. It's part of a nationwide shift. More than 300 data center bills have moved through statehouses this year, as lawmakers pivot from handing out incentives to demanding accountability. Yet even amid that regulatory wave, construction is pressing forward at a breathtaking pace. Take Sulphur Springs, Texas, where developer MSB Global Services is planning one of the most ambitious campuses in the country. Dubbed the Matrix, the project would span 1,677 acres and deliver 3 gigawatts of computing capacity across 30 AI-optimized data center buildings. A build-out the company values at some $18.7 billion. It's the kind of hyperscale footprint that would have been unthinkable just a few years ago. And it lands in the very state that just froze new grid connections. Projects like the Matrix show why the interconnection queue in Texas has swelled to record size, and why regulators are now scrambling to figure out which builds are real and which are merely speculative. The construction ambition is staggering, but the financing behind these projects may be even more so. Which brings us to the money. Meta has just closed one of the largest private capital deals ever recorded. A financing package of nearly $30 billion to build out its Hyperion data center in rural Richland Parish, Louisiana. Meta partnered with asset manager Blue Owl Capital, keeping a 20% stake, while Morgan Stanley arranged more than $27 billion in debt and roughly $2.5 billion in equity through a special purpose vehicle. When it comes online in 2029, Hyperion will span more than 4 million square feet and draw up to 5 gigawatts of power. Meta's largest data center anywhere on Earth. From a farmland vote in Michigan to a $30 billion deal in Louisiana, the build-out is not slowing down, and the question of who pays and who decides is only getting louder. Thanks for watching. If you found this useful, subscribe, leave a like, and drop a comment. It helps us cover more of these stories.